to the view, every angle on you, from the sweat on your face to the roar in the blue. Welcome to the view, every second rings true. Sit back, lean in, yeah, yeah. Enjoy the view.
Hello and welcome to The View, brought to you by Allianz. No Paddy, no Aisling today, so you're stuck with me, but thankfully I have a couple of good men with me to get through the show. John Heslin, Ciara Murtagh, Mark O'Shea online. Lads, can we do this?
Yeah, I have confidence in you, Mikey. It'd be great.
I think you'll be well able.
As long as it's not referred to as the Dougal doing a funeral moment, I think we'll be happy enough. But looking forward to the busiest weekend in the Connacht Championship this year, and straight into it, we have three big fixtures for you. Mayo are in London, Leitrim travel to Sligo, and Roscommon are well on their way to New York at this stage and looking forward to their game in the Big Apple. So if we start, we'll go to London. We'll see what Andy Moran had to say about that fixture.
It's a huge challenge in terms of like London themselves. I had a great time for Michael and all their management team, because I'd have been with Leitrim previously and we'd have played each other a lot, and I know what he's going to bring to it. He knows the way I like to play football as well, so we know each other quite well in that regard. But in terms of logistics, it's a big undertaking, and again, I've been lucky enough to be there as a player, and I've been lucky enough to be there with Leitrim as a manager. So I understand the logistics headaches of it, so I'm just hoping that it runs smoothly on that regard. And once it does, then it's a game of football. Then after that, you go in and you play and try to put your best foot forward. This is Championship now. This will be all in. Obviously, we won't have everyone moving into the game, just with, I suppose, a few niggles after the National League. The Under-20 Championship is on. We won't have everyone kind of available to us, but we'll have a strong panel going to London, and I think we have a strong panel developed over the course of the National League, so it's the responsibility of them players in the first 15 and 26 that when they're in there and they have that jersey, that they play well and they hold on to that moving forward.
Okay, so that was Andy Moran, and I suppose he mentioned a couple of players that he won't have available to him due to under-20 commitments, but we can have a look at the team that they have selected for this weekend, and a couple of interesting stats in it really. We have Rob Hindley back in after I think 4 years of an absence, and we have David O'Brien in the middle of the field. A couple of new debutants in Championship, Hugh O'Loughlin and Cian McHale. John, what do you make of the selection?
Yeah, I mean, I was just thinking there as we were listening to Andy Moore, and he probably has a little bit of a luxury, and no disrespect to London, that it's not a Tyrone Armagh game for Mayo. So they're coming off the back of the league. They don't have to rush some of their lads back. We saw Tommy Conroy, he came on against Roscommon in the last game and kicked 2 points. We were just talking before we went on air about Jordan Flynn. Number 21 there, he's actually their top scorer from play in the league, scored 117 and 3 2-pointers. So I'd imagine he's probably likely to start. I don't know. He wore 21, I think, in a couple of games, so maybe that's his favourite number. But look, Hugh O'Loughlin is lined out there, wing forward. He was number 7 against Roscommon. So it's an interesting thing there. I noticed that some teams, they're playing maybe a defender in the forward line to kind of put a little bit of pressure on the opposition and open things up then in the second half, But Ciara, I'm not sure what you think of the team.
Yeah, similar enough. When I saw it, the bench is what stood out for me, how strong that is. I'd imagine there might be a couple of changes maybe, but to still have Stephen Cohen, Tommy Conroy, the two O'Connors to call on the bench as well. I was kind of surprised that he's not going to play some of the under-20s. I just thought it'd be a good experience for them to, I suppose, expose them to London. Again, I'd fancy them to get over quite comfortably. So I just thought he'd give them a few minutes, but it doesn't seem like he's going to.
Yeah, that's true. And it's, I suppose, Kobe MacDonald and certainly Dara Byrne as well deserves a huge mention there in terms of the under-20s. I know they're playing, I think, their last group game against Galway, and Galway Mayo have won all their round-robin games so far. So in fairness, they're giving them that little bit of space to focus on that. But like, as a player, are you looking forward to getting a little bit of that kind of game time maybe in against a London or a New York versus going straight into maybe the white-hot heat of a Galway Mayo Roscommon clash?
Yeah, and that's why I thought he might give them a few minutes and limit the amount of minutes that they get, I suppose, over there. But look, obviously they have a huge game coming up in the under-20s as well. But I'd imagine come Roscommon, if both teams get over the line this weekend, I'd imagine you'll see them under-20s playing.
Yeah, okay, great. We'll chat to Mark now. Mark, how you doing? Quick one for you. Mayo, 5 from 7 in the league. 5 from 7 in the league. What has impressed you most about the kind of maybe the new style of play that we're seeing a little bit under Andy's management?
Well, look, I suppose the first thing, Michael, straight away is that Ryan O'Donoghue was brought out, I suppose, the half-forward line. We always kind of associated him with playing inside. So he's very much kind of in that number 11 position now as well, and I suppose he's got a solid defence to pick from as well. You look at Kine, Brickett and Durkin is back, Plunkett, Callanan, they're solid players on any team. And Kieran mentioned, you've got the bench there to look at the bench that he has to come in. Boland, Cohen, the two Connor brothers, Conroy, that's a serious bench to look at as well. So you said it yourself, Michael, 5 from 7. It's a great return for a National League. I think Andy will be very happy with the league, albeit one or two poor performances. But I think in the whole, I think he'll be very happy. And I think he's made the right decision with the 20s as well. I don't think you can really serve two masters at a time. Look, this is a game that Mayo are going to win, and he's allowing the boys to play with the 20s and I suppose totally focus on the 20s, because I think Andy's looking at this as a bigger picture. He's looking at, say, maybe, developing these players. I know Kobe's probably going to Australia and all of that, but he's probably looking to develop these lads and bring them on as a group, and I think they're probably best served playing with their own level in a very competitive under-20 Connacht Championship.
Okay. John, Aidan O'Shea is 2 games off a century of championship start appearances for Mayo. That's quite phenomenal. While we have Kobe and Dara Byrne and others, kind of left waiting to maybe make their first, that's fair going from Aidan O'Shea.
No, it is remarkable, and the game has changed so much over that period of time as well.
Yeah.
I remember we were freshers together, albeit in different colleges, and Aidan O'Shea's style of football was very different back then. He was certainly a bigger man, but he has obviously focused a lot on his training to be able to adapt to the new game. So full credit to him. Staying away from injury, etc. A lot of work, as you two lads, goes in behind the scenes to make sure you stay injury free. And he remains a big player for the Mayo team, not just in terms of his ability, but also I'm sure behind the scenes and giving that leadership and communication to the young lads that we've mentioned coming on the scene.
Yeah, brilliant. Okay, let's hear from the London manager, Michael Maher.
Make sure you've got enough time on that broadcast stream yet. Look, we're going out to win the game. We're going to have a real crack at it. The new rules, especially, you don't sit in with 15 players anymore and hope for the best and hope to be there with a kick of a ball to go. We're going to have a real cut at it. But listen, I think everyone that walks in the gate will tell you the result before the ball's thrown in. We'll have other ideas. We'll give it a go, but God knows where we'll be come 4:30 on Saturday afternoon. But it certainly won't be for the want of trying and the want of believing that we can put up a show.
Great stuff. So, Mark, you were out in London 2 years ago with GAA Plus. What was that whole experience like from your perspective?
Yeah, look, I'm a bit down actually, Michael, because I was supposed to be out in New York this weekend, but other things have changed since, so unfortunately I'm a bit down about that. I'd love to be Paddy McBrirt here right now. But I was out in Ruislip 2 years ago, and I'd have experience from playing there. In 04, we played a quarter final with the club there, and also played with Kerry on numerous occasions there as well. And say 2 years ago then when I was there, it was fantastic facilities, what they've done to the place. The development has been really good. And look, I suppose that game, against Galway, what I was surprised with was there was a strong wind. They should have played with the wind against Galway. They played against the wind in the first half. I felt they should have had gone with the wind. And look, I suppose the big thing for London is they're missing their best forward. Donegal player, Kieran Diver, he's suspended. He's a huge loss because he was outstanding in the league. A few Donegal players there, Clark and McGill, and there's even a Kerry fella, Matt Moynihan, full back. So he'll have an interesting battle with Aidan O'Shea. So look, I think it's a game where, from a London point of view, there's a lot of scrutiny on London and New York. I know we'll get to New York. A lot of scrutiny at the moment about these teams and how competitive they can be. For London, what would be a result, I suppose, being competitive for that 40-50 minutes. They have the advantage over New York in that they're playing in the National League, which is a huge advantage, and they get that experience. But for me, obviously Mayo will have too much.
Okay, thanks, Mark. Kieran, so we heard from Michael Maher there, homegrown London managers, and it's great to see. And there's several, key London players, homegrown as well, we call them. One that stood out for you, Shea Rafter.
Yeah, absolutely, and we played against him over there last year, Michael, and I think Michael Maher needs to get a lot of credit for the work that he is doing behind the scenes over there and all his management team. Defensively, they were very hard to break down for long periods. I know we won comprehensively in the end, but we struggled a lot in the first half. But Shea Rafter as well caused us a lot of difficulty in attack, and he has been playing well in the league games as well. They picked up 7 points in the league, and I think the league is huge for them every year. I'd love to see them get up to Division 3, and I think that's when they can really have a stab at the Connacht Championship then.
Brilliant. Okay, let's move from London to the Bronx, and let's hear from the Roscommon camp.
It's something that we're well aware of the threats that New York will pose to us when we go over there, and they'll have taken confidence from that. I'm sure they'll be speaking about that in the build-up to the game. So we'll be well prepared, and in fairness to the management team, they've had us well prepared in all our games thus far this year. So I'm sure it'll be the same for New York as well.
I suppose they're always looking to improve the structure and the system we'll be playing within, and our biggest thing is that there's 4 quarters is the way we kind of look at the game. So we want improvements in every one of those quarters that I suppose we've seen in games we've competed well in maybe 2 or 3 of those. So it's more of a consistent for us now.
Yeah, it's a fantastic experience. I suppose anytime you go abroad, you kind of nearly get to feel what it's like to be nearly a professional in regards to soccer. But no, it's great. And as a squad, it's great getting away when you go on training camps or you go away together as a group. It always brings the group closer together. Obviously, we know we're going over to New York with a job to do, but it's great spending time, I suppose, with your teammates with a different perspective on things, and you get to see all the supporters who are following you around the country. It's nearly more personal than when you meet them abroad, say in London or New York. So yeah, no, it's always a great experience for our supporters and the players.
I suppose from a management and team point of view, we're going out there, we have a job to do when we're out there, and that's what we're going out to do, get a performance and hopefully get a result as well out there.
So Kieran, I think your brother's going to be disappointed that he's not going to see you in the crowd on Saturday. What's going on? Why aren't you in New York?
Like Mark O'Shea, I'd love to be out there as well, but I just couldn't get out there, unfortunately.
Yeah. So listen, let's have a look at Mark Dowd's starting team here. Right down the middle, in fairness, we were talking off air, stacked from, particularly up front. In the Smith 11, Dara Craig is in at 14. Robert Meehan, who has impressed you as well, Kieran. Give us your thoughts.
Yeah, I'd imagine there might be still a few changes to that team. Robert Meehan, I think, has been doing excellently a corner forward. He's kind of doing a dirty job for the rest of the forwards, I think, and they're getting all the praise for it. Dara Heenan is named to start there. I know he picked up an injury throughout the league, so it'd be nice to see him back. If not, I'd imagine Conor Hand will come in for him. It's great to see Ben O'Carroll in reserve as well. If we can get game time into him over in New York, it'd be great then for heading for Mayo after that as well. But yeah, no, they're looking good. I think they're set up nicely for this campaign, and I suppose in the background they'll still be looking at Mayo after this game.
Absolutely. Well, let's cut to New York and see if we can check in with Paddy McBrearty, who's the lucky one chosen to represent the GA Plus team over there. Hey Paddy, how are you?
How's it going, Michael? You look well in that seat there.
It's just keeping it warm for Paddy and Aisling. Tell us, what's the word in the street in New York? Did you get to press the flesh with any of the locals last night?
Not really, no. We flew out yesterday evening. Good buzz around the airport there. Yesterday, a lot of Roscommon people, so they're all in good form. Very good league for Roscommon, obviously. Very positive league. But no, good buzz, and it's going to be a great occasion there on Sunday. Brilliant.
John, it's New York have pulled off the unthinkable before. It was Leitrim a couple of seasons ago. What do they have to do to try and do the same to this Roscommon team?
Yeah, well, I suppose it's worth saying thanks to GA Plus for not bringing me out to New York. They obviously know I'm still in the middle of the calving season, so a few cows to still calve, so that's I really appreciate not being invited maybe next year. But yeah, exactly, thought that counts. No, all joking aside, look, we went through the New York team there, and there are some some players there that have a lot of county experience. I was actually looking at the wider panel today, and there's Sigerson Cups, there's McGrath Cups, there's a lot of experience in that New York panel. We talked about Jack Savage, Keane O'Dea from Clare. It would be unfair to me not to mention Adam Loughlin-Stones, who's a Westmeath man, brother of Luke Loughlin, who we might talk about later on, Michael Argy from Cavan. So they have a lot of top quality players there that, you know, they have to just have that belief. They've pulled off a shock before, so it isn't quite the unthinkable, if you will. But you know, Roscommon have been very good in the league. They'll probably be disappointed at some of their performances, but similar to what I mentioned about Mayo and London, they have an opportunity to go out and get through the gears. You know, Dara Craig, Jim Murta, they've all been exceptional, and the Smith this year as well.
Kieran, myself and yourself have played championship out there.
Yeah.
The last time you were there was a little bit of a scare, but can you give us a sense of what it's like? You know, there's dimensions, it's Astro, there's lines for lacrosse and everything on the pitch. There's the smell of the hot dogs coming in from the bleachers. What's it like playing on it?
It is. It's strange, I suppose, the whole atmosphere that's out there. We usually fly out on the Thursday and train on the Friday and Saturday. We train in Gaelic Park on the Saturday, and we were all putting sun cream on. The sun was splitting the stones, and then we got there Sunday for throw-in, and it was raining. So that was the first thing that we were faced with. But I suppose everything kind of went wrong for us on that day. Just handling everything, ball skidding out over the end line. We just couldn't get going. And then John mentioned Luke Loughlin. He was playing there 10 years ago, and you know, he nearly bet us on his own. We were very, very lucky to get out of there. It's a great experience. There's a lot of, I suppose, behind the scene gigs that go on as well, fundraising and whatnot. Yeah. And players and management are asked to be at some of them as well. So look, you have other commitments to take care of, but I think Jeremy mentioned there on his video that first and foremost you want to get the video, or want to get the game won and get back and be preparing for Mayo. Yeah,
great stuff. Mark, like, it's a huge fixture, the diaspora. You know, there'll be people coming in from all quarters of North America into the Bronx for this on Sunday. It means so much to the Irish abroad, doesn't it?
Oh, it does, and I suppose that's where the Irish abroad, as you said, the diaspora, the pride, the identity of those people, it comes to the fore. And like anytime I was ever in Gaelic Park, you know, you see them just flock there, and they're so proud of where they come from and all of that, and so proud of the game. And but you know, of all years, this year it's a massive one for New York, Michael, because all the talk is that their Connacht participation, you know, and it might be coming towards an end. So I'd love to see a huge performance from New York. Cathal mentioned it there. They have produced it, but we were probably not seeing that consistency. And, you know, they beat Leitrim in 2023. But other than that, it's been few and far between. So you'd love to see them really kind of putting the game up to Roscommon and really going after it, because the lads mentioned it there in the studio. There is quality players there, you know, so it's about giving a performance. And for the teams that travel, the Astro, like it's a tough place to go into, environment to go into and kind of produce. I'd imagine maybe Roscommon, I don't know, I'm not privy to what they've done, but maybe they might have had a session or two in the Astro before it. But it's a tough environment to go into, different climate, different environment, and to try and get a performance. That's the big thing from a Galway point of view. I've been very impressed with what Mark Dowd has done. I think that I've always been critical, I suppose, of Roscommon in the last few years in the sense that I haven't seen the consistency. They've been topsy-turvy going from Division 1 to Division 2, and I suppose this year I was very impressed with their league performances, and I think that Mark Dowd has done a really good job since he's gone in there. Obviously we know the quality that Roscommon have, Dara Craig, Diarmuid Murta, you know, Enda Smith, all these great players. So it's about having that consistency now in the Connacht Championship, which I think that they can have, and I think they can really put it up to a Galway and a Mayo.
Paddy, if I go to you, if we pick up on that, obviously we all know Roscommon had a good day out in league against Donegal. They got the win in the High Park. What are your expectations for this Roscommon team? How far can they go?
Listen, Mark, I think picked up on it there. It's the consistency end of things for me. Probably Roscommon over the last number of years, they've probably let themselves down. You can expect a few bigger things off them, but I suppose the main thing for this weekend for Roscommon is not to be too complacent. Everyone's expecting them to come to New York and get the win, but they could easily find themselves in a bit of a battle with 20-25 minutes into the game. But obviously Roscommon are one of those teams, they can beat anyone on their day, and you just probably don't know what you're going to get from them day in, day out. Like they beat Donegal, and then the following week then they had a big loss to Dublin, so it's just probably getting that consistency end of things. But listen, I've no doubt that probably the Connacht title is probably Roscommon's number one objective at the minute.
Great stuff. Okay, let's hear from the New York camp.
What has past week been like for yourself and the panel?
Oh look, Championship week's fairly special. Only comes around once a year out here in New York, so the players are looking forward to it. Management kind of looking forward to it now at this stage too. But for the players, it's great for them. It's great for the town, everybody involved in the GA out here. It's the big event in terms of that yearly Connacht Championship game. So we're looking forward to it. We'll see what happens on Sunday, but the lead up till it has been good.
This is your second year as the manager. What inspired you to take on the role?
Well, I suppose Alan O'Mara was the manager 3 years ago against Mayo, and then when Alan stepped away, he had asked. I was involved in training the team at that time, and when he stepped away, I stepped up into the management. I think it's more so that I felt that the players that were there, they were a great bunch of lads and great to be involved in, and from a playing standpoint, it's all about challenging yourself at the highest level. And if I can help out in any way in terms of me or the management team to prepare players to be able to do that, then that's great.
Bob, the Connacht Championship quarter-final with New York and Roscommon, it's just around the corner. How's the last week been for yourself and the panel?
Hugely exciting. We've been training for 3 months, I suppose, for this one game, but kind of the work is done now, so just excitement really more than anything else.
And you were on the panel back in 2023 when New York last claimed their win against Leitrim. What would it mean for New York to take home another win?
Oh, massive. I think the atmosphere that night was unreal, especially the way it kind of finished with a kind of homegrown player kicking the winning penalty. But the atmosphere was unbelievable, and you're always kind of, look, we're not here kind of just to take part. We want to win games.
Okay, great stuff. So we have the New York team. And John, I'm going to come to you on this, but I think there's the guts of 10 of the 15 who started against Galway last year and did put up a good show for the first 50 or so minutes. Is there anyone you want to highlight there?
I mean, the man in the picture, Keano D, I'd be really looking forward to seeing who he picks up, because we've highlighted the Roscommon attack.
He's a man marker.
He is a man marker.
He leaves a mark.
Yeah, and a farmer might as well add that in there as well. So whether he picks up Dara Craig or Diarmid maybe, I'm not sure. That'll be an interesting one. Killian Butler, number 15 on the screen. Yeah, he has four London Championships. Tyrone Gales man, so he has a lot of experience there. And we mentioned James Walsh and Jack Savage, who are lying out at 25 and 26, but there's a lot of experience between the two of those as well. James Walsh, Knocknagoshel man, Munster Championship, Sigerson. So a lot of experience in the team, the 10 you mentioned, and hopefully they can put up a good fight against Roscommon. I'd just be interested from Kieran in terms of Roscommon, getting ready for this game, probably looking forward to the Mayo game, but Mayo gave them such a bit of a beating in the league. How would you have approached that in the past? I think that's an interesting one.
Yeah, well, I was interested to see so many changes, to be honest, on the Roscommon team, but there was a bit of shadow boxing going on there, because I think both teams were setting sights further down the line to play against each other. I think the Connacht Championship is huge for Mayo and Roscommon this year. I know Galway are going for 5 in a row, but I think it's huge for Mayo and Roscommon with their managers in their first years. They'll be trying to pick up a Connacht title. But I think Roscommon are better prepared this time than they were going over to New York 10 years ago. I'd expect them to win quite comprehensively. Likewise, Mayo in New York or in London. But I just think the way that they've prepared, they trained in Beacon on the Astro. I just think everything is set up. I think they're taking this one very professionally, and that's why I'd expect them to win nice and easy.
Okay, and of course, 5 years ago they missed out on the trip due to COVID, so we anticipate that there's a huge Roscommon crowd in New York. Paddy, what's the latest on the ground out there? Tickets? Can anyone get a ticket for the game on Sunday?
Yeah, there's good excitement. Even walking around Manhattan there last night, I actually saw a few Roscommon jerseys around the place, which was strange to see. But great buzz around here. We met Larry McCarthy last night for a bit of food here. The XGA president. Great buzz. We have an event now tonight in Manhattan as well. So there's a big Roscommon gang coming to that as well. So good buzz around the place.
Great stuff, Paddy. Listen, we'll let you go. No, we want to keep you. Sorry, Paddy. We want to keep you for the big game in Ulster. We'll move on to the final. We'll move on to the final fixture in Connacht, which sees Sligo host Leitrim. Kieran, give us your take on this one.
Leitrim haven't bet Sligo in a long time in Championship. I'd expect Sligo to get over the line in this one. But look, Leitrim, I suppose, have been going quite well underage. They're really trying to develop players. Stephen Poacher is doing good work with them. They really seem to be focusing on their underage and trying to get better in that regard, and then trying to bring it into senior level as well. Obviously, Barry McNulty has got a lot of mention throughout the league as well, and he is a handful for any team. So Sligo are going to have to keep a very close eye on him. But even if we go down through the Sligo team, like they've some stalwarts there like Murphy, Cian Lally, Towie, Spillane, like there's loads of players there and I just think they'll have too much for Leitrim in the end.
Yeah, I think, and it's like a lot of the games in Leinster that we'll get to shortly, it's a real big local derby, but the big game of the weekend is in Ulster. It's Armagh hosting Tyrone, and let's hear from Oisín Connacht.
Feeling good, probably Division 1, we survived on the last day with a draw against Kerry, probably thinking we didn't do enough justice for ourselves in the league, maybe whether it was through our execution of our skills or shooting mostly, or maybe letting in some goals probably didn't help us, and we knew it could have been prevented or scored in the other end. So it's something to work on going into the Championship, and we know it's going to be a massive battle against Tyrone. Getting beaten in the last 3 finals, it probably shows that we do take it serious. You know, I think every county in Ulster takes it serious. It's a massive provincial title, and we look forward to it, and hopefully we can add that medal to our back pockets. You know.
Of course, and searching the elusive provincial title, but Armagh take on Tyrone in Armagh on Sunday. Definitely the tie of the weekend. Mark, if I come to you, we're going to have a look at the teams shortly here, but like it's a massive fixture to really launch the championship this year. It is, and it's probably the best championship of all is the Ulster Championship, and I've always said it down through the years, whenever there's an Ulster Championship game and you're trying to predict it, all bets are off, Michael. You know, it's so hard to predict. But based on what we've seen in the National League, you have to give Armagh the advantage here. I watched them closely when Kerry were up there in the National League, and just the quality that they possess. And if ever, look, I suppose I kind of liken them to maybe Clare in the football or in the hurling, in that Clare win the All-Ireland, but that elusive Munster Championship, it's the same with Armagh, that elusive Ulster Championship that has, they played second fiddle to the likes of Donegal in the last few years, and I think it's something that McGeeney's really going to after. Look at the panel there, Michael. I mean, it's just quality throughout, and listening to the man who was just talking, Oisín Connacht, if ever there was a transfer market and you wanted a player, Oisín Connacht all day long. He just oozes class, and I've always said it, no different to yourself when you were playing the game. Any forward who wins the ball and just goes directly at you, it's so hard to stop those players. And I think that something that's probably disappointed me from a Tyrone point of view is that, what is it? Have they won 3 of the last 4 All-Ireland 20s? Definitely 2. Something like that. We've yet to see that come to fruition. Okay, and I think that's a big thing. And like looking at their team as well, Michael, there's no starting spot for Ethan Jordan, who's been outstanding in the National League. So I don't think that team that they've selected is going to be the team that starts. I definitely see Ethan Jordan coming in there. He's been outstanding with those 2-pointers. We see Morgan back in the team, McKernan back in the team, so there's a bit of steel being added there. So whilst I'm firmly thinking it's going to be an Armagh victory, particularly in the Gaelic rounds, I still give Tyrone a chance. I love Malachy as a manager, but I still would favour Armagh. Okay, let's hope Paddy stayed on the line, and we'll go to him for the man who's closest to the action of the last few years. Paddy, how do you see this one going?
I think Mark's right. Listen, Armagh are going to be big favourites going into the game, but you always have to give Tyrone a chance. The league was very, very disappointing for them. They wouldn't have liked the way things went. I've been really, really impressed with Armagh in the league. I think they've been unlucky in a lot of games. But, looking at the Tyrone team, it isn't, a great Tyrone team. If you compare it to Tyrone teams of the past, it's probably one of the weaker Tyrone teams that have we put out in Championship football over the last number of years. And then, as Mark alluded to there, the Armagh team and the bench sticks out a lot. It's a really, really impressive team. So listen, Armagh are big favourites. I expect Armagh to win, but I wouldn't write Tyrone off. They would have listened to a lot of negativity around the county and probably had a good sit down with themselves as a squad after the league campaign, and I would have trained hard over the last 3 weeks. But if I was to put my money on it, I would say Armagh are gonna take this one.
Yeah, and of course Tyrone are just back, like a lot of teams, just back from a training camp. But I suppose a real worry is that the points, the only points they took in the league were the teams beneath them, with two wins and a draw. But we're going to have a look at the Tyrone team here now, Kieran. And again, a little bit of power on the bench as well, as much as, Armagh certainly are stacked on the bench. But do you see changes here, or are you happy that they're going to roll with that?
Yeah, I'd say Mark mentioned it there, Ethan Jordan. I'd expect him to start. He's a serious 2-point option for them, and they're going to need that if they have a chance against Armagh. I suppose Kieran McGeary is back with them. I don't think he'll come into the starting team, but I'd expect to see him throughout the game to bring his experience to it as well. He's an excellent player, but I suppose during the week I was kind of thinking of what Tyrone team would be put out, and if you were to put out the two Canavans, McCurry, McElholm, Matty Donnelly and then Ethan Jordan, that's a serious forward line. But unfortunately we're not going to see it this weekend, but hopefully throughout the championship that's something we might see.
At some stage. And John, Niall Morgan is back in after missing the last 2 rounds of the league.
Yeah, obviously Niall's experience adds a lot to Tyrone. His impact with the new rules, interesting to see. I don't think they tend to use him as much as the older rules, we should say. But look, I think, even Paddy's comments there, the pressure's probably off Tyrone a little bit, and it'll be interesting to see how they respond to that. What kind of siege mentality maybe that they're building in the camp. He mentioned Michael McKiernan. He played a little bit of 6 during the league. It's good to see if he lines out as played there, wing back. That's probably a stronger position. Maybe even in the corner, driving Tyrone on. Owen McElholm, we didn't mention him either. He's down to start on the bench. It's just interesting selection from both teams, because if we look at Armagh as well, Oisin O'Neill's on the bench. He was their top scorer in the league. Had a slight little hamstring strain, I believe, in one game and didn't make it back into the starting team. So it's just interesting to see how, and Conor Turbot then as well, obviously another great option on the bench. Our team's kind of letting the first 20 minutes play out, 25 minutes, and then bringing our 2-point options on, as you mentioned, with Ethan Jordan. So look, really looking forward to it. Unfortunately, it clashes with the Westmeath game, so I won't make it to see that. But good to see Rory Grugan back, Andrew Murnan on the bench as well, and we forgot to mention Barry McCambridge. Like, that's they're 3 great players to be able to bring back in. Exactly, yeah.
Mark, a little bit of movement as well in Armagh in terms of their goalkeeper as well. We see Blaine Hughes is in again. What are your thoughts on that? They've stuck with him.
They have, yeah, and I think rightly so. I think the rule change was very much part of that, Michael. And if you go back to last year, I think, particularly Kerry's quarter-final, Kerry really went after the kick-out with Rafferty and so much so that they carved Armagh open, you could say. And I think Blaine Hughes has shown a level of consistency in the goal. And I think with any goalkeeper, you have to have your goalkeeper. He's probably your number 1 player now on a team with the new rules. The kickouts are the game, and getting those kickouts off. It's all about, how much retention, how much ball can you hold on to, and from that point of view, I think McGeaney has definitely said, right, we're sticking with Blaine Hughes, and I think he's made the right call there.
And Mark, but is Ethan Rafferty then, is he an actual option for outfield, do you think? Like, could he be wearing an orange jersey numbered 16 on Saturday or on Sunday, for example?
It's hard to know, Michael, because we've seen him in one of the National League games come on in the half hour, and he's a lovely footballer. I love to see him come out the field. With the old rules, I really enjoyed the way he came out of goal and was an option to kick those balls with that left leg, that lazy style kick that he has. So it'll be interesting to see the way things pan out. But yeah, I think the way managers have gone in recent times now with the new rules, the keepers are staying put, and we've, the lads alluded to that there with Niall Morgan. The keepers are really kind of staying at home and playing more conservative, I think.
Thanks, Mark. Paddy, before we let you go, if you're to nail your colours to the mast on this one, who are you going for?
Armagh all day. I'm really, you know, I was really impressed with Armagh all year. I did allude to maybe a few weeks ago in the studio there. This game probably came a wee bit too early for Tyrone, considering their league campaign. They would have liked maybe a lesser team to play against. You know, they probably wanted to avoid the likes of a Donegal or Armagh. But you know, I'll name me colours to Armagh, and that's tough coming from a Donegal man.
Okay, listen, Paddy, we wish you well on co-commentary for GA Plus on Sunday. Enjoy the weekend. Get home safe.
Cheers, fellas. Thank you.
Okay, let's turn our attention to Munster. GA, we have 2 fixtures in the Championship. We have Limerick against Cork and Waterford against Tipperary. And Cork and Limerick, Cork hosting Limerick, Waterford hosting Tipperary. Mark, we'll get back to you on this one. Give us your thoughts on both of these fixtures, please.
Yeah, I was watching Waterford against Kerry last night in the 20s, and you know, it was probably disappointing from a Waterford point of view. Tipperary probably have been, you know, and looking at Waterford in the league, they've been really disappointing. So look, Munster of all the provinces is the one province that you could say is really suffering, with the exception of Kerry and Cork, and thankfully Cork have really come. I suppose, Michael, when I was playing, particularly starting off, it was a very competitive provincial championship in that you had Kerry and Cork always, you're probably beating each other. Cork beat us on numerous Munster finals, and also you had Limerick really coming to the fore, should have pipped us twice or 3 times, and Tipperary were very competitive as well. So it's good to see the Rebels on the rise again. I think from a Munster point of view, it can only bode well for both counties, Kerry and Cork, but I'd love to see the other counties come and show us a bit more. But like from a Cork, and I put Meath in the same. I know we're talking about Munster now. We've seen the Meath and the Cork team coming from the 80s, the great rivalries that they had. We see those 2 teams now really coming again, and it's great to see that consistency. And you know, Cork have a serious panel of players. John Cleary's doing a great job down there, and it'll be interesting to see. I still obviously see Kerry ahead of them, but I think Cork are really going to go after Munster. They're really going to go after the Munster Championship, and that's what John Cleary will be totally focusing on, in my view.
Yeah, okay. John, if we focus on Waterford and Tipperary, like that, this is their biggest game of the season by far, isn't it?
Yeah, I suppose, as Mark alluded to, the challenges that are there for the likes of those teams in the Provincial Championship. You know, we would have seen it ourselves at certain stages with Westmeath. Waterford had a tough league campaign. So the rebuild that's needed there in the short couple of weeks after the league to get ready for Championship. I mean, you know, we would have talked about it ourselves off air. In days gone by, you would have had weeks, maybe even 6 weeks to 8 weeks before a Championship game after the league. Whereas now you're facing 2 or 3 week turnaround, and Waterford, after losing the majority of their games and being beaten by Tipperary already earlier on, it's hard to see Waterford come out on top of this one. But I mean, that's when you maybe sometimes play at your best football, when there's no pressure on you, no expectations. Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see how they turn up for that one.
Absolutely. Okay, that's Munster. Mark, we can now let you go as well, so talk to you next week.
Thanks, Michael. Keep up the great work. See you, lads.
See you, Mark.
Okay. Now the attention moves to Leinster. There's a busy weekend as well in Leinster. This weekend, starting tomorrow, we have Carlow taking on Wicklow, we have Westmeath and Longford, and we have Offaly taking on Laois. And let's hear from some of those players involved now.
It's definitely important. I suppose it's over 20 years since Laois last won their Leinster Championship, so it is obviously, when the competition you're in, you want to try to go after every competition you're in, so it is very important for us. And no better game to start off, I suppose, against Offaly in a local derby in our first game, so that's very important for us as well, that we get our bragging rights in our local derby. But it's a very important competition. I suppose once the league is done, your provincial is next, and you have to go after that.
It means a lot to me personally, and I know it means a lot to our group. Offaly has great tradition in the Leinster Championship, and I feel like the Leinster Championship is a great way to get supporters behind you, because there's so many local rivalries in it, and in particular with the Laois one coming up, it creates a real buzz and excitement around the area, and gets supporters behind you, and you try and give them a team to follow. So that's hopefully what we can do over the summer now.
Great stuff. John, we better come to you for your home county. What's the hope? What's the hype? What's the expectations there for this year?
Yeah, I mean, look, Westmeath, they had a great league campaign.
Yeah, unlucky not to get promotion.
Great up into the last few minutes against Wexford, you know, and I probably spoke in studio, obviously we're raising my Westmeath flag, but Wexford were full credit for the win and performed quite well in the league final as well. Just shows you the power of the 2 pointers in particular. The game is never over, and that's why the championship start should be so exciting for everyone, despite the, you know, maybe one-sided games we've talked about. But Westmeath going down to Longford, local rivalry. Westmeath, like we talked about the mentality piece and the work that would have had to been done for Waterford. Westmeath have had to come from that low that they faced against Wexford when they felt they should have been promoted, whereas Longford, and I probably overlooked them when I was laying out my final table for Division 4, and they came out and performed excellently. Like, you know, they got to the league final, so they're on the rise. It's going to be a very tough game for Westmeath. Few injuries there as well, but look, I'd be hoping to see Westmeath come out on top of that one.
Absolutely, yeah. So Kieran, with the other 2 fixtures, 2 real local derbies as well, and lots on show. You know, that's a really big Carlow Wicklow on the back of how Division 4 went. I'd say disappointment in Wicklow. Carlow, pure elation. Do you think are they back head screwed on again since
I'd say so,
league final?
but it was great to see them celebrating it so much. You know, it was huge,
wasn't it?
Yeah, it was huge for them to get promoted. Obviously, Wicklow will be disappointed that they didn't get promoted. Both teams obviously met earlier on in the league, and Carlow won that one by a few points. I'd expect it to go right to the wire this weekend again. But look, I was delighted to see Carlow get promoted. I thought it was an excellent game with Longford as well. But I really think this is going to be a tight one, Carlow and Wicklow. And I know we said that Tyrone and Armagh could be the game of the weekend, but I think for Leinster and for neutrals, this is going to be a nice one to watch as well.
Yeah, and there's a real prize there. Whoever wins hosts Dublin as well. John, if I jump back to you for Offaly and Laois, again another local derby in the heart of the country here.
Yeah, and I got to see Laois play, and unfortunately it was when they were beating Westmeath down in Portlaoise. Westmeath didn't play particularly great on the night, but Laois were fully deserved of the victory, and actually when they played Down, who went on to get promoted as well and win Division 3, they put it up against Down. So Laois have plenty of good footballers. You know, Paul Kingston still knocking around. He came off the bench against Down and scored 2-3 after coming on after about 50 minutes. We saw Killian Roach, the goalie, on the screen as well.
He's a real weapon, isn't he?
Kickouts are exceptional, you know, I must say. And then the 2 midfielders for Laois as well. So like that's the platform. You know, Mark alluded to that earlier on. You need the goalie being able to get possession. You know, you want your team to get possession, and it's critical with the new rules. And then there's strong midfield, without mentioning Evan O'Carroll up front as well. So Laois are strong. Offaly have had a tough league in Division 2, but still some exceptional players there. That it'll be a real humdinger, I'd expect, in Tullamore.
Do you think will anyone beat the Hooter? Because it's a busy weekend, lads, and I have the privilege of having the questions and being able to ask the questions on Beat the Hooter this weekend. We have a leaderboard, and I witnessed Paddy McBrearty. I think he had ChatGPT and OpenAI helping him to land top spot. He had Paul Conroy after 7 seconds. John,
jeez, that's a bit
you're
disappointing,
just hanging in there now. Let's see,
Jeez.
can we improve your score?
That's a bit disappointing.
I haven't looked at this yet.
We'll let John go first.
So it's whoever. Kieran Murta, you're up first.
Yeah, there you go.
I better do better than the last time anyway.
I better keep them this way. All right, Kieran, we'll start the clock in 3, 2, 1. I made my debut in 2005.
Okay, next one.
I scored 18 goals for my county.
Keep on.
2 of which came in the 2007 All-Ireland final.
All right.
I'm a graduate of the TG4 series, The Underdogs. I was named the Footballer of the Year in 2006.
Donny?
Donaghy.
Yeah.
Correct. Stop the clock. 21.
Should have got it earlier.
I had that
Okay.
after 16 seconds, just to let you know, but it doesn't.
Just making sure. I threw out a few random ones the last time, so I wanted to be sure.
Yeah, well, you're there. Okay. Currently, you sit higher up the leaderboard than John. So, John,
let's
go, John.
Okay, John, you're out of the top 10. Okay, great stuff.
Great, that's
John,
great to hear.
let's go in 3, 2, 1. I have won All-Irelands at clubs, colleges and county level. My first medal came in 2002 at under-21 level. I'm a former teammate of yours. I was man of the match in the 2023 All-Ireland final. I won a Sigerson Cup with you in 2016.
Oh, well, sure. It could have been Jack. No, Jack wasn't Jack. No.
I have won the Sam Maguire 7 times.
Mick Fitz, no. Club.
I last played
Paul
for my
Mannion?
Correct. Stop the clock.
28.
28. That's a
Jesus.
little bit of an improvement, is it?
I had it after 5, I think, John.
Yeah.
So many titles there. Okay,
Yeah,
John,
yeah.
you are joint 8. So you're moving up the
Oh,
board.
that's good. Yeah,
We'll get
happy
another
with that.
chance.
Yeah.
We'll
Well, you
get
did
another
well in your
chance to
first.
improve this.
Is that your first?
That's
one?
my second one now.
Second one.
Thank God, a bit of an improvement.
All right,
Jeez, the noise
listen,
gets you.
we're there. Lads, thanks a million for today. We got there. A busy weekend. Paddy is here on Monday to take you through all the highlights. We'll talk to you then.
Enjoy the view.